Welcome back, Aluxers. In today's video, we'll be exploring the world of luxury watches, but from a different angle than usual. Now, we know a lot of you out there love to follow fashion and talk about it too. But what happens when you're discussing your favorite brands with someone in the know, and suddenly you realize you have no idea how to pronounce them correctly? Getting a classy brand name wrong is sure to expose you as out of your depth in the world of haute couture. And as watch brands are notorious for their seemingly unpronounceable names, we've dedicated this video to showing you that just with a little practice, you can get them right. And even the most linguistically skilled Aluxers can learn something too, because as you're about to see, there are a few wildcards that are a little deceptive. And we'll also include plenty of nuggets of information about these brands, so you can come out of this video sounding like a true connoisseur of horology. In case you don't know what that means, that's knowledge about watches. But the clock's ticking, so in alphabetical order, here's our list of 30 luxury watch brands you're mispronouncing. Welcome to Alux.com, the place where future billionaires come to get inspired. If you're not subscribed yet, you're missing out. Number 1. We're starting with a German brand founded in 1845 by Ferdinand A. Lange. He dropped his first name and called the company A. Lange & Sons, or if we say it in German, A. Lange und Söhne. Yes, to say it right, say the and in the middle in German, und. They can count Brad Pitt among their top fans, but this uber-classy brand is way above celebrity endorsements. As their CEO puts it, we already have a brand ambassador. At Lange, the watch is the hero. We don't need Brad Pitt running around with our watches. Ouch! Brad, that's gotta hurt a bit. Number 2. Most names on this list come from French or German, the two most widely spoken languages of Switzerland, the spiritual home of watchmaking. And it's time for the first Swiss watch brand on our list. This one's combining the French names of its two founders, Audemars Piguet. Among their past triumphs, they can boast the world's first luxury sport wristwatch, 1972's the Royal Oak. Fans include Tom Cruise, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Lionel Messi, and Serena Williams. Number 3. Next, another Swiss watch that combines two names, those of its founders, the Baume brothers and Baume Mercier. But even if your French pronunciation is up to scratch on these names, you'll still need one more detail to be considered in the know, the ampersand. That means the and sign in the middle. It should be spoken in French, so it isn't Baume and Mercier, it's Baume et Mercier. Number 4. This next name might mean white bread in French, but there's nothing plain about these elite watchmakers. With a history going all the way back to 1735 in Basel, Switzerland, they're the oldest watch brand still in existence, and Marilyn Monroe was a fan. Is that enough to sell you? Then make sure you're saying it right. Call it Blancpain and you'll provoke face slaps. It's pronounced Blancpain. Number 5. Next up, one of the better-known brands on the list, so you might not have as much trouble with it, but some people still do get it wrong. It's Breitling. This Swiss company started out specializing in watches for aviators, and nowadays they partner with Bentley to make their dashboard clocks. Number 6. Now for a brand with serious pedigree even by the standards of this list. There can't be many modern-day companies that can boast Marie Antoinette and Napoleon as former customers, but founded in France in 1775, this one can, and it's pronounced Breguet. Its founder, Abraham Breguet, founded the tourbillon mechanism that's still used in the most exclusive watches centuries later. And as we're doing a pronunciation lesson, let's make sure you've got that one down. It isn't the name of a watchmaker, but it's an important term when discussing fancy timepieces. It's not tourbillon, it's tourbillon. Number 7. This one's a bit of an outlier as they're the only watchmaker on the list to be located in the UK and most recently founded in 2002. They make upmarket watches with an aviation theme, and their English founders chose a French-sounding name and also go with a French pronunciation, Bremont. Number 8. We've also selected a few fashion houses that aren't necessarily best known for their watches, but they still make them. And this Italian brand makes the list because a lot of people don't get it quite right. It has nothing to do with the country Bulgaria. The correct way to say it is Bvlgari. Number 9. You all know this French company. Forbes magazine recognized them as the world's 59th most valuable brand, admittedly for their jewelry as well as their watches. So let's do them justice and make sure we're pronouncing it right. Cartier. If you can't roll your R the way the French do, don't worry, it's not essential. Cartier is also acceptable too, just not Cartier. Number 10. Another brand that makes jewelry as well as watches. They even partner with the Cannes Film Festival, making the Palme d'Or trophy as well as quartz movement watches that have auctioned for over $1 million at Christie's. A couple of basic French pronunciation rules will get you through this one. Remember that the CH is pronounced sh, not ch, and the D at the end is silent, which means we say Chopard. Number 11. Christian Dior, another fashion house that counts watches among the many elegant items they make. To be honest, you could get away with saying Christian Dior with the usual English pronunciation. It just sounds classier if you say Christian Dior. Number 12. Next up is a truly exclusive Geneva-based brand that limit production to 800 super high-end watches a year. You may have come across them on our video 10 brands you only know if you're rich. If you really want to sound fancy, you could go full-on French with this one and pronounce the first two initials the French way, FP Journe. But it's acceptable to pronounce the FP the English way, just as long as you get the name right at the end. So FP Journe works just fine. Number 13. Another Swiss watchmaker that can trace its history back to the 18th century with famous owners ranging from Queen Victoria to Quentin Tarantino. It's not often you hear those two in the same sentence. This one's a bit of a tongue twister even by the standards of this list, so take a deep breath and repeat. Girard-Perregaux. Number 14. The next brand gets its name from Germany's prime watchmaking town, which is also home to the first name on our list, Lange Söhne. But this company traces its lineage back to the town's earliest watchmakers, as the name suggests, and it's pronounced Glashütte Original. Number 15. You might know the next Swiss brand as an official watchmaker of Formula One. The name means a ship's porthole in French, and it was chosen by its founder because of the way these watches resemble ship's windows. To pronounce it right, just remember that the T at the end of a French word isn't pronounced, and neither is the H at the beginning. That leaves us with the 4 letters in the middle, Hublot. Number 16. Of all the German names on this list, this Swiss brand is probably the biggest mouthful, so don't worry about saying the initials in German. Just make sure you pronounce the big word at the end right. IWC Schaffhausen. Number 17. Next, a Swiss brand that's now owned by Swatch, but is known for the eye-catching artwork on their watches that's colorful and classy at the same time. If you've been paying attention, hopefully you know by now it isn't pronounced Jaquet Droz. Yes, it's a French name, which means if the word ends in a syllable, that syllable's probably silent. Jaquet Droz. Number 18. Next up, an upmarket brand that's teamed up with Aston Martin, and the pronunciation might be controversial with any German speakers out there. Look at the first word in this one. It definitely comes from German and means hunter, so you would expect to pronounce it the German way. Jaeger, right? Well, we've done our research and we can tell you the brand pronounces it as if it were a French word. That's because it's named after a French clockmaker who happened to have a German name and we assume German ancestry. Besides, it's based in the French-speaking part of Switzerland. So sorry German speakers, trust us with this one. It's Jeager-LeCoultre. Although we have noticed that even knowledgeable horologists get this one wrong, so pronounce it right and you'll earn some expert bonus points. Number 19. Next, one of our better-known brands on the list that are visible in malls and sponsor the tennis French Open. We're sure you're doing well, Aluxers, and by now you won't be pronouncing this one Longines. Yes, the correct way to say it is Longines. Number 20. This Swiss manufacturer partners with the world's richest soccer club FC Barcelona and produce a large range of watches featuring the same colors worn by Messi & Co. One of the trickier ones on the list, just be thankful you don't have to pronounce the X at the end. It's Maurice LaCroix. Number 21. They're known for their fountain pens and other classy accessories, as well as their luxury watches, and they can boast Hugh Jackman as a brand ambassador. They're also named after the highest mountain in France, which French speakers pronounce Mont Blanc. But it's a German company, and the German speakers behind the branding insist on pronouncing the C, which makes it Mont Blanc. But to be honest, if you get this minor detail wrong and say it the French way, it's unlikely anyone will care. Number 22. only the second name on our list that doesn't come from French or German, which shows how few countries have mastered the art of luxury watchmaking. This one's originally from Italy, but nowadays its headquarters are in, you guessed it, Switzerland. And Italian pronunciation often doesn't pose as many problems as French or German, so it shouldn't be too tricky. Panerai. Number 23. Next, a Swiss brand that succeeds in being well-known and seriously high-end at the same time. Check out our video of the 10 most expensive watches, in which it takes 2 of the top 10 spots. Over the years, its fans have included some of the biggest names of the 20th century: Einstein, Picasso, and JFK. For the second word, remember to say it the French way, after its French founder, Philippe, not Philip. The first word comes from its Polish co-founder, Antoni Patek. And be thankful that compared to most Polish words, this name is incredibly easy to pronounce. Patek Philippe. Number 24. Next, a brand with plenty of history and a pioneer in ultra-thin movements. That means pretty much what it says, getting the hands to make tiny but precise movements to show the time as accurately as possible. The T on the far right of the logo might appear to be big, but as it's a French name, you've guessed it, it's silent. Piaget. Number 25. Next, a relative newcomer, at least compared with most other Swiss companies on the list. This one's fairly simple. Just don't say Rado, it's Rado. Number 26. Our next watchmaker has produced watch ranges inspired by Disney movies, operas, and classic rock bands. His surname may be German, but it's pronounced the French way, Raymond Weil. Number 27. Next, a Swiss brand that's partnered with the likes of Lamborghini and Pirelli. Avoid the temptation to pronounce his first name like the English name Roger, but go for a classy, French-sounding Rosé Dubuis. Number 28. Next, one of the best-known names on this list, with Leonardo DiCaprio as its brand ambassador. The first part of the name is an acronym for Techniques d'Avant-Garde, but don't worry about that. Just say TAG. Focus on the second part, which is German. Don't say Heuer, it's Tag Heuer. Number 29. This Swiss luxury brand started out making timepieces for ships, and until a century ago, 50 of the world's navies used them. Nowadays, it's the watch of choice for the world's richest person, Jeff Bezos, and he's also one of the smartest people in the world, so we're sure Jeff says it right. Ulysse Nardin. Number 30. It's time for the last phonetically challenging watch brand on today's list, one known for extreme precision to detail. In fact, one of their watches holds the record for the most complicated watch ever made, with 57 horological complications. If you want to know what that means, click on the link for the 10 most expensive watches. For now, let's focus on pronouncing it right. Go into full-on French mode and say Vacheron Constantin. Alright, Aluxers, as always, we hope you found this video fun and informative, and we trust you'll put it to good use and sound like a pro next time you're talking watches. But before you go, we'd really love to know which brand names, watches or otherwise, do you find it most annoying when people pronounce wrong? Put it in the comments below. And of course, for sticking with us until the end, here's your bonus. We're going to finish by looking at how to pronounce one of the world's most famous luxury watch brands, which we've left off the list until now. No, not Rolex. We're sure you can handle saying that one. We're answering the question, Omega or Omega. These Swiss watchmakers get their name from the last letter of the Greek alphabet, usually pronounced Omega, but you'll often hear people saying Omega, and that includes James Bond. Yes, it's currently 007's watch of choice, and in Casino Royale, you can hear Bond actor Daniel Craig calling it Omega. Surely James Bond can't be wrong. Or can he? Well, you'll know that here at Alux, we don't like to sit on the fence when it comes to big questions. But watch experts tell us that in this case, both ways are actually correct. So whether you call it Omega or Omega, ignore anybody who tries to correct you. And if they don't believe your credentials when it comes to pronouncing luxury brands, just reel off a few names from this list and you'll convince them in no time. Thank you for spending some time with us, Aluxers. Make sure to like and subscribe so you never miss another video. We also handpicked these videos, which we recommend you watch next. You can talk to us on all social medias or ask a question on our website, Alux.com. Thank you for being an Aluxer, and we'll see you back tomorrow.